Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Shujata Ray of the Earth Sciences Department of the Indian Institute of Science, Education and Research, Kolkata. Today, I'm going to present our findings on the spatio-temporal variability of climatic and hydrological extremes in the Ajay River Basin in India. My co-author in this work is my research scholar, Mr. Shivanand Mandraha. On a global scale, climatic extremes, the extremes of precipitation and temperature, have been changing, and scientists attribute this to the anthropogenic changes in the global climate. And we know that the impacts of these changes are quite severe on both agriculture and food security, as well as on hydrological extremes such as floods and droughts. Today I am going to present my findings on the changing extremes in a particular river basin in India. India is a country which is quite vulnerable to changes in extremes because of its large population, its agricultural economy, as well as its tropical climate. Now, in recent times, the extremes in India have been characterized by dramatic changes which cannot be explained by natural variability alone. But scientists have not yet been able to answer the question of whether these changes in extremes are actually due to anthropogenic changes in the global climate or due to local changes such as land use change and industrialization. So I shall try to interpret my findings in the light of this question. The climatic variables that we have studied are the high extremes of precipitation. We have daily rainfall data from 1901 to 2019, and then we have looked at the extremes of maximum temperature and minimum temperature, for which our data extends from 1951 to 2019. And finally, we are going to look at river discharge data, for which we have a data set from 1990 to 2019. The river basin that we have investigated is the Ajay River, and you can see it flows eastward through this eastern state of West Bengal in India. To put this in geographical context, the Ganges flows through these northern plains of India, and this is the Ganges flowing through West Bengal. The main branch of the Ganges flows into Bangladesh, while a distributary breaks off and flows south. This is known as the Hooghly River. The Ajay River, which we have studied, originates in the hills to the west over here, and then it eventually meets the river Hooghly. Now, one reason why this semi-arid basin is of interest is that the groundwater levels here have been falling quite steeply. This is clearly because the withdrawal of groundwater for intense irrigation that takes place here is higher than the rate of recharge. Now, the recharge, of course, depends on the climatic variables such as precipitation, but it also depends on the subsurface characteristics. So here we investigate changes in extreme rainfall, and eventually we would like to find out whether this contributes also towards the changes in recharge rates over here. So this is the catchment of the Ajay River, and we have studied it in two parts. One is the more upstream part, which is a hilly region, and then the downstream part, which is plain land. And we have used gridded data for temperature and rainfall, and these crosses mark the centers of the grids for the rainfall data, and these 2 points mark the centers of the grids for the temperature. And these are the points at which the river discharge has been measured, one in the upper catchment and one in the lower catchment. Okay. Now, I'm going to try to explain briefly the methods that we used to analyze the extremes. So, the first step is to build the time series of extreme values. And the way we've done that is we have selected the three highest data points of the entire series. And that's the way the extreme value time series has been built. And the assumption is that these events must be independent of each other. And we've assumed that two events are independent if the inter-event time is at least 12 hours. Now we are going to explain how we have analyzed the changes in this extreme value data set, and I'm going to use rainfall as an example, but the same method has been used for all the other variables as well. So we are going to look at the quantiles. Now, a quantile is the intensity of rainfall, a rain event which has a particular frequency or return period. So, lower is the frequency of a rain event, higher is its return period. And the way we look at changes in the quantiles is to compare them with a particular reference data set. The difference in the quantile of interest with the corresponding quantile in the reference data set is called the anomaly. What is the reference data set we have used here? That is the entire time series. And we have zoomed in on different parts of the time series and compared the quantiles in that in time series of interest with the reference. And here I have tried to show visually how that is being done. So we have taken the time series of interest is 10 years, and so we have selected 10 years. This is a moving window which is sliding across the entire time series, and this is how the quantiles are calculated. So this is how the anomalies are calculated, and this is x at x of ti divided by x of tj. So x of ti is a quantile with a particular return period in the block period of interest, and x of tj is the quantile with that same return period in the reference series. This is an example of how we have visualized the quantiles over time, and on the independent variable is time on this axis, and the dependent variable is the anomaly. You can see here that these anomalies have a natural variability, and this is attributed to interactions between the land and the sea and the atmosphere. So we need to identify the significant anomalies, and the way we've done that is by calculating confidence intervals, and the confidence intervals have been calculated using a non-parametric bootstrapping method. So that brings me to the end of the method section, and this is our data on the precipitation high extremes. Okay, and on the left we are visualizing the anomalies in extreme precipitation in the upper catchment, and on the right hand side we are seeing the anomalies in precipitation in the lower catchment. Now, one thing to notice here is that there is a very long and very high anomaly in the upper catchment, and this has taken place in recent decades. So we think because this change has taken place in recent decades, we might be able to attribute this to global climate change. And a similar anomaly, however, has not been seen in the plains, even though here also we are seeing a trend in the increase of a trend in the intensification of precipitation here as well. So what about the maximum temperature? Here you are saying that in recent decades, that is at least post of 2000, we are seeing significant anomalies in the global maximum temperature, but this is showing a cooling effect. Okay, and we are seeing it both in the upper catchment as well as in the lower catchment. So clearly this cannot be explained by global climate change. Instead, we are trying to see if there is some local impact here, and one possible reason might be increase in scattering aerosols. And what we're seeing, if this graph actually shows us how scattering aerosols have changed over time, and here you're seeing that post of 2000 the aerosol concentration has increased. So this corresponds with the same time as the change in the temperature has taken place. So one possible reason for this cooling might be the temperature. And finally, we are looking at river discharge, and you can see here that the lower catchment has experienced great changes in the anomalies here. So our conclusion is that in the upper catchment, precipitation extremes have increased, and this may be attributed to global climate change. The temperature has cooled in both the upper and the lower catchment, and this may be attributed to increased aerosol concentration. And finally, the river Ajay has experienced large increases in high discharge, and this possibly may not be attributed to change in precipitation, but might be explained by some other local effect. Thank you.